All right, ready to dive into a world where Mozart meets cybersecurity.
That's intriguing.
It is. We're talking musical cryptography, basically hiding messages within musical compositions.
A really fascinating blend of art and science, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And we'll be exploring it all, the history, its connections to modern encryption, and even some mind-blowing potential uses, especially for those of you out there in cryptography, cybersecurity, and military strategy.
We're not just talking about simple messages, though. We're going to get into AI-driven musical cryptography and even quantum cryptographic possibilities.
Oh, wow. But to understand where we're going, we need to know where we've been.
Right, exactly. So let's rewind way back to the 18th century and meet Philip Thicknesse.
Okay, Philip Thicknesse, 18th century. Who was he?
Well, he was a British, I guess you could say he was an eccentric personality.
I like him already.
And he was one of the first people to use musical cryptography that we know of.
What did he do?
He developed this system for encoding messages right within musical notation.
So, like, each note on a page could be a letter. Or a word, even.
Yeah, exactly. So a totally normal sheet of music could actually be a secret message.
Wow. Is that similar to how digital steganography works today?
Very similar. Thicknesse's work, even though it was seen as, just a novelty at the time, really foreshadowed what we do with steganography.
That's amazing. He was like a digital pioneer way before the digital age.
Now let's jump ahead to the Baroque period. Let's talk Bach and Schwenke.
Oh, the big names. What'd they do?
They were masters of incorporating musical signatures into their pieces.
Musical signatures. What are those exactly?
They would basically embed their names or even like coded messages into their music using specific notes that corresponded to letters.
Okay, so like a simple code, A equals this note, B equals that note.
Some people think they went even further than that, though. Like maybe Bach, especially, used more complex polyphonic techniques.
So like layering multiple messages that only someone with the right knowledge could decipher.
Exactly. Like a musical tapestry where each melodic line has its own secret message. That would have been incredibly advanced for the time.
Wow. Adds a whole new dimension to how we listen to their music.
And this idea of hidden meanings wasn't just for composers working on their own. During the Renaissance, composers would use musical motifs as basically a coded language, especially during times of political and religious unrest.
Oh, I see. So music became a way to communicate in secret, even rebelliously, right under the noses of the authorities.
Exactly. It just goes to show how powerful music can be as a form of communication, not just for, enjoyment, but for secret messages and even resistance.
Really makes you think about all the secrets that might be hidden in the music of history.
Now, this idea of hiding information in music connects to modern digital encryption in a big way. At their core, both musical cryptography and digital encryption rely on transforming information so it's unintelligible without the right key.
So it's like scrambling letters into notes or encoding data into complex algorithms, but the basic principle is the same.
Exactly. You create a system where only the people with the key, whether it's a musical code or an encryption algorithm, can unlock the message. And just like with musical cryptography, encryption techniques keep evolving to stay ahead of anyone trying to break the code.
It's fascinating that the same principles used by composers centuries ago are now used to protect data in the digital age.
It is, and that's where things get really interesting for those of you interested in cryptography, cybersecurity, and military strategy. Think of what musical cryptography could do for secure communication and intelligence work.
We're talking way more than just sending secret messages using Mozart now, aren't we?
Yeah. We're talking about advanced applications. Like, imagine encoding important data within what seems like a normal piece of music. You transmit it over a public channel, and only the person with the right decryption key can actually get the information.
So like hiding a needle in a haystack. But the haystack is a symphony.
Exactly. You can use the inherent complexity and ambiguity of music to hide information, making it really hard to detect or intercept. And this is just one example of how we can use musical cryptography in cybersecurity and intelligence.
It's wild to think that something as artistic as music could be used for espionage or information warfare. It really blurs the lines between art and science.
For sure. And it shows how security is constantly changing, how we need new and creative ways to protect information. Yeah, it really does highlight how security is always evolving and how we need new approaches to protect information.
And speaking of staying ahead of the curve, how does AI fit into musical cryptography?
Well, AI is really changing everything, that's for sure. Imagine an AI system that can compose music, but with these super complex encryption patterns built right in, way beyond what humans could do.
So AI wouldn't just create the music; it would also create the encryption at the same time.
Exactly. And these AI-generated compositions, they wouldn't sound like, random noise or anything. They'd be just like human-composed music.
Yeah.
But hidden within the melodies and harmonies would be all this encryption. Almost impossible to crack without the key.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a little scary too. It's like the perfect musical camouflage.
And it goes even further. Think about an AI that can analyze tons of music, like huge databases, and it can detect little patterns and anomalies that might point to hidden messages.
Like an AI codebreaker for music.
Yeah, exactly. It could go through all this music and pick out the pieces that have something more to them.
So AI could be the composer and the codebreaker.
It is a fascinating area of research, and it could have huge implications for cybersecurity and intelligence. If an AI can crack codes in music, well, it could uncover all sorts of things. Secret communications, maybe even identify who's involved in illegal activities.
Like giving intelligence agencies a whole new superpower. They can listen to the world's music and hear the secrets it holds.
It's not just about defense, though. AI-driven musical cryptography could also be used offensively. Think about disinformation campaigns or propaganda all hidden inside music.
Wow. Instead of spreading a message with words or pictures, you could embed it in music that people just, listen to without even realizing it.
Right. It's a subtle but potentially really powerful way to influence people. Music can get past our rational defenses and tap right into our emotions.
It really shows how the fight for information is happening on so many different levels now, and music is becoming a new battleground.
And that brings us to maybe the most mind-bending possibility of all, quantum cryptography and music. What if we could use quantum mechanics to create unbreakable encryption keys and then hide those keys inside musical compositions?
Okay, I think you've lost me now. How could quantum mechanics and music how could they work together?
Well, think about it this way. Normal computers use bits, which are either a 0 or a 1. But quantum computers use qubits. And qubits can be in a superposition.
Superposition.
It means they can be both 0 and 1 at the same time.
It's already pretty confusing.
I know, it's mind-bending stuff. But the main thing to remember is that these qubits are super sensitive. If anyone tries to eavesdrop on a quantum communication, it changes the qubits. It reveals the intrusion.
So it's like a built-in alarm system for the message.
Exactly. And now imagine taking those quantum keys and encoding them within the sound waves of music. The frequency, the amplitude, the phase, the music itself would carry this unbreakable key.
So the music is the key, and any attempt to mess with the message would be instantly detectable.
Exactly. It's like turning a symphony into an impenetrable vault.
That sounds incredibly futuristic. Is anyone actually doing this using quantum musical cryptography today?
It's still early, but there is some promising research going on. Scientists are looking at how to use quantum entanglement to create secure channels for transmitting music with these quantum keys. Imagine being able to send a top-secret message, but it's disguised as a piece of music, and it's virtually impossible to intercept.
Like something out of a spy movie. But what about outside of espionage? Are there other uses for this kind of technology?
Oh, absolutely. Think about protecting sensitive data in finance, healthcare, government. Quantum musical cryptography could be used to secure communications, protect intellectual property, maybe even verify documents or products.
It seems like the possibilities are endless. But with all this talk about advanced technology, I think it's important to remember the value of musical cryptography in education and for preserving culture.
That's a great point. Musical cryptography isn't just about the latest technology, it's also a way to look at history and culture and understand how people have always tried to keep secrets and express themselves. Yeah, it really shows how we can find creative solutions to problems by drawing inspiration from some pretty unexpected places.
For sure. So as we wrap up our deep dive into musical cryptography, I want to think about the future for a minute. What's coming next? What's on the horizon?
Well, one area with huge potential is where musical cryptography meets neuroscience and biometrics. Imagine a system that can actually analyze a listener's brain waves or their physiological responses to music.
Wait, so instead of just, listening to the music itself, We can analyze how the listener reacts to it
Yeah.
to uncover hidden information.
Yeah, exactly. It's like adding another layer of decryption, right? One that's based on the listener's subconscious reactions to the music.
Wow, that could have some incredible applications.
Oh, absolutely. Things like lie detection, market research, even personalized entertainment.
It's almost like music could become a tool to understand, maybe even influence, our thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, it really blurs the lines between music, technology, and human consciousness, which is exciting, but also raises some ethical questions.
That's a good point. As with any powerful technology, we have to be careful about misuse. What are some of the ethical things we need to think about with musical cryptography, especially as it gets more advanced?
Well, one concern is that it could be used for, covert surveillance or even manipulation. Imagine music playing in a public space, but it's actually collecting data about people or trying to influence their behavior without them knowing.
That sounds straight out of a dystopian sci-fi movie. We really need to think about the ethical guidelines and regulations around this kind of technology.
Absolutely. It's critical that musical cryptography is used ethically and responsibly. We need to protect people's privacy and their autonomy, but also, make sure we can still use it for good.
It's a tough balance. We'll need a lot of discussion and collaboration between scientists, policymakers, ethicists, and the public to get it right.
Definitely. We need to have open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of musical cryptography. We have to make sure it's developed and used in a way that aligns with our values and goals as a society.
Well, as we wrap up our exploration of musical cryptography today, I have to say I'm just in awe of human creativity and ingenuity, the ways we can communicate, protect information, and really push the boundaries of what's possible. It's incredible.
It really is. And it shows how powerful music can be. It's a language, a code, a force that can bring us together, inspire us, and make us think differently about the world.
And who knows, maybe someday we'll discover that the universe itself is a symphony of hidden messages, just waiting for us to decipher them.
That's a beautiful thought. Until then, we need to keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep listening for the secrets hidden in the music all around us.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into musical cryptography. We hope you've enjoyed it and that you'll keep exploring the hidden melodies that surround us.